Where the best wrestle, there is a war that is always fought but never won. Of heroes and villains, victories and failures, of alliances and betrayals, because of one singular goal, the AEW World Championship. Kenny Omega was a founding member of AEW in 2019, the Golden Star illuminating what wrestling could be. But at Double or Nothing, a debuting Jon Moxley provided the literal paradigm shift to the battlefront. When Mox held the title first, a rising but desperate Omega gave in to his darkest urge, the invisible hand of Don Callis. Kenny got what he wanted, but at what cost? When Omega lost the title and pressure mounted to win it back, Callis betrayed Kenny while he was facing Moxley inside a steel cage and formed the Don Callis family. Enter Will Ospreay. The Ospreay-Omega saga started in PWG in 2015. But as Kenny made waves in Japan, Will was always poised as the man to someday take his place. A burgeoning feud in New Japan led to their second singles match at Wrestle Kingdom 17.
You're either going to pass this torch or I am going to take it from you.
Engaging in wrestling mastery and vying for territorial dominance.
364 days a year, you're a better wrestler than me. But it only takes one to be a champion.
They tangled again at Forbidden Door 2023, with Don Callis producing the screwdriver just like Kenny had used on Mox. Once officially in AEW, Will began following in Kenny's footsteps as a member of the Don Callis family. The troubled path he wouldn't walk for long. Will reached his moral limit and requested his release from the family after his first and only AEW World title shot, a loss to Swerve Strickland at Forbidden Door 2024. After Omega returned from life-threatening diverticulitis in 2025, he stood beside Ospreay against the Don Callis family in a very uneasy alliance. But before those paths could intersect once more, there was another black cloud on the horizon. Jon Moxley and the Death Riders' merciless reign engulfed AEW, taking the World Championship hostage and targeting anyone who didn't share their vision. They'd encountered the aligned Omega and Ospreay inside a 10-man lights-out steel cage match at last year's Forbidden Door. Though Kenny and Will were victorious, the Death Riders shattered Ospreay's neck afterward, and now it was his turn on the shelf.
Champions stay in the game.
Miraculously returning 7 months later, Will set his sights on winning the world title in his home country at All in London. After Will's shocking loss to Jon Moxley at Dynasty and then losing to Mark Davis via ref stoppage, Mox made Ospreay an offer. In order to achieve his goal, he had to learn from his enemies. And so began Will's journey as a Death Rider, learning to be a killer. This was exactly what Ospreay needed, ultimately to win the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, securing his title shot at All In. But while this was happening, Omega pulled out ahead. Kenny came up clutch, defeating MJF for his second world title at Beach Break. But killers always kill. After Kenny successfully defended against Kevin Knight at Redemption, the Death Riders of old struck first. They brutalized Omega, placing a chair over his neck, just like they had done to Ospreay.
You get your shot and pull the trigger, no matter who the target is.
When Mox put a plastic bag in Ospreay's hand, he saw the line he wouldn't cross and terminated his relationship with the Death Riders. Ospreay made his stand. But was it too late? Because now, the man he had been chasing all over the world for more than a decade, the man he patterned his career after, the man who he will have his dream match against, now has a tremendous grudge to bear. Will had awoken the Kenny Omega of old, not willing to give an inch, not willing to trust or befriend, not willing to let transgressions lie. Kenny vowed to be the greatest version of the best bout machine we've ever seen. Ospreay finally got his wish, but at the highest cost. Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay for the AEW World Championship at All in London. And the landscape of AEW will never be the same.
Kenny Omega, meet me in London.
Will Ospreay, at Wembley Stadium, you will lose everything.